Alright, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be using an anonymous case as an example to walk you through how to move up the Amex ladder and ultimately what you can use Amex points for. We will also go over what kind of co-branded cards our guests might use for their specific case, given that they like flying with Delta and Aeromexico as a bonus session. This user submitted a credit card recommendation request on Reddit outlining their full profile, and here's what we're working with. The only card that they currently hold is the Bank of America customized cash rewards that they opened more than 2 years ago, and their credit score is around 785. Their annual income is approximately $130,000, and this is a very strong profile and it gives us a lot of flexibility to work with. Their monthly spending looks roughly like this: $2.4K on rent, dining $480, groceries $300, of which $120 is at Costco, $0 for gas, travel spend around $600 to $850 per trip, and these are usually trips to Mexico. They travel 2 to 3 times a year, and they usually fly with Delta and Aeromexico. They spend $373 in shopping. For streaming, they have Netflix, VIX, HBO Max, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus. The phone plan that they have costs them $75, and finally, they have an other category of $268. Their goal is to reduce the out-of-pocket costs of flights by moving from cashback into a point setup that actually fits how they travel. Specifically, they travel 2 to 3 times per year, usually 2 international trips to Mexico and 1 domestic trip. They primarily fly Delta and Aeromexico, and they also like Alaska Airlines because they're based in Seattle. So Delta and Alaska would be their main hub carriers. They don't spend much on hotels because when traveling to Mexico, they typically stay with family, so hotel points and luxury redemptions are not a priority. What they want out of points is cheaper flights, better redemption flexibility, and a setup they can expand over time as they add more cards. The easiest ecosystem to recommend for our Reddit user today is Amex. American Express directly transfers to both Delta and Aeromexico. It is true that they can explore other ecosystems if they're willing to take the risk of transferring points to other SkyTeam airlines to book Aeromexico indirectly, like flying Blue to book with less points, but Amex is simplest when it comes to direct point transfers. We'll get to this later, but you'll also be able to take your girlfriend to Mexico for free with Amex's co-branded Delta cards. However, there are 2 downsides with Amex. First and foremost, Costco doesn't accept Amex cards. Given that you spend around $120 at Costco, if missing out on 480 MR points a month is a big deal for you, you could consider a Chase setup, though you would have to go through alliances like Flying Blue, like I mentioned earlier, to book flights to Mexico, which offers less flexibility for your travel plans. The second downside is that Chase has a strict 524 rule, which means you won't be able to apply for Chase cards if you applied for 5 personal cards within the past 24 months. If you complete an Amex setup, you'll end up opening about 2 to 3 Amex cards, which is fine if you go to Chase right after, but it's still something to consider. All things considered though, I choose Amex to keep things as simple as possible because I don't think you'll find much value out of Chase cards given your travel tendencies. Now with that being said, let's move on to how you should be climbing the Amex ladder. Amex has a strict once-in-a-lifetime family language, and here's what that means. You are only able to get 1 sign-up bonus per card, ever. And that's the once-in-a-lifetime rule. The other rule is that you're unable to get a sign-up bonus for a lower tier card within the same family if you ever got a sign-up bonus for a higher tier card. Now this means that you won't be able to get the sub for the Amex Gold if you got the sub for the Amex Plus. Now knowing this is extremely important to make sure you make the most out of this because these points can be worth more than $2,000 and you wouldn't want to leave $2,000 on the table. So here's what I do, assuming you start applying in February. Start off with the Amex Gold. Now there is the Amex Green, but first of all, the sign-up bonus isn't that much to be worth it, and it has an annual fee that is a little difficult to justify, so I always recommend moving forward with the Amex Gold first. This gives you 4x back on groceries and 4x back on dining at a $325 annual fee. Make sure you're able to make good use of the credits to offset the annual fee because otherwise the card doesn't make sense to you. You seem to spend north of 3.5K a month, assuming you put your rent spend on the card, so you'll be able to hit the $6,000 sub requirement for 100,000 points within 2 months. By April, you'll be sitting on 100K points, and more than 6,000 points from your spend, which puts you at 106k MR points. In April, get the Amex Plat. This will give you 5x back on flights booked through Amex. You'll naturally be able to use the $200 airline fee credit since you fly to Mexico often. They charge a hefty amount of taxes and fees even on award flights, so even if you make your flights completely free, you'll still end up using the airline fee. And as long as you're able to use $700 worth of the other credits that are available, which I personally think you'll be able to use them because you use $300 of digital entertainment credit and $400 worth of Resi credit effectively for date nights, the Amex Plat should be worth it. This gives you good travel protection and lounge access for you and your girlfriend. And by August, you'll be sitting with 106k points plus 175k points from the sub, plus more than 12k points from your spend, which comes down to 293k MR points. Finally, since you want a fully fleshed out setup, I want to point you to a catch-all card, the Amex Blue Business Plus. I know you say you didn't want a business card, but the Amex Blue Business Plus doesn't have an annual fee and gives you 2x back on everything. And let me show you how powerful this is with math. Without Blue Business Plus, 75 plus 268 plus 373 plus $300 worth of spend multiplied by 4, because that's your grocery spend on your Amex Gold, $480 times 4, which is your dining spend on the Amex Gold, that'll be 3.8k points per month. Now with the Blue Business Plus, you'd be able to multiply 2 to $75, $268, and $373 of spend that wouldn't be going on your Amex Gold. Add that on top of the $300 worth of groceries times 4 plus $480 worth of dining times 4, which comes down to 4.5k points per month. You're missing out on 700 extra points. And really, applying for a business card is no different from applying for a personal card. So please feel free to check out my other video on business cards on the link in the description below. By the end of August this year, you'll be sitting on almost 300k MR points, and that is more than enough to cover for your Mexico trips, and you could even consider booking a business class flight for special memories with your partner. You're also now comfortable with a setup that has great earning potential if you want to stop there with your credit card game. But I do have a bonus section for you if you're interested in diving deeper. Great. So you have a healthy, sustainable setup that you are generating everyday points from. But what if I told you there was another way to book a free flight to Mexico for your partner every year, even if you didn't have the points to do so? Well, it would be true. I would urge you to check out the Amex Delta Platinum and Reserve cards. First of all, please be aware because the same family language rule applies to their Delta cards, so you might want to start with the Amex Delta Gold if you want to maximize sign-up bonuses. But that aside, here's what you get for the $350 Delta Platinum card. You obviously get Delta miles from the 100k sub from 6k spend, but you also save 15% whenever you book with miles on Delta flights, effectively improving the value of your points. You also get $120 worth of rideshare credit, $150 Delta Stays credit, $120 Resi credit, and first checked bag free. You'll be saving a lot of money already with the free checked bag feature if you do check bags. But the best part is the annual companion certificate that you can use when you book a round-trip economy flight with cash. It essentially is a buy one, get one free deal, and this alone could be valued around $600 to $800 because that's the price you've been paying for these tickets to Mexico. The Delta Reserve comes with additional lounge access and the ability to use the companion certificate on business class flights, so it'd only be useful if you regularly fly business class, and this could be the fourth card you could go for. So what do you do at this point? It's up to you. You could explore other ecosystems, you could dive deeper into getting more subs, or call it a day and go about your life using the setup that I recommended for you. But to recap, for the sake of simplicity, stick with Amex as opposed to other ecosystems. Get the Amex Gold, the Amex Plat, Blue Business Plus, and maybe the Delta Platinum or the Reserve, depending on your travel habits. This should be more than enough points to cover for your economy Mexico flights for at least 4 to 5 years. And if you end up with other travel goals in between, use what I've taught you in my other videos. Check out my first video of the series if you'd like some help when you get to that point. It'll help you decide on an ecosystem. That being said, thank you so much for letting me use your Reddit post, and as always, stay safe.